Here in Bonn, negotiations are continuing mainly in an informal format. Aside from this, the Paris Committee on Capacity Building met again, and there was also a facilitative sharing of views. Transparency underpins the Paris Agreement because countries themselves determine their own contributions towards addressing climate change. This translates into monitoring climate action at the national level and reporting on those actions internationally. In some quarters, there's already a clear sense of how this happens on the ground.
Paris Agreement envisages engagement of all levels of government. This means transparency of action has to also go deeper at the subnational level, what cities, what regions, what state governments, local governments are doing, and how much this is supporting the national determined contributions. From our point of view, transparency has to include information of the climate adaptation and mitigation action of the cities and regions worldwide.
For others, transparency extends to ensuring that certain human rights elements are included in the Paris Rule Book. The Rule Book will govern the implementation of the Paris Agreement.
Well, first, transparency would really be crucial in that sense that when parties report not only on CO2 emissions, they also have to report in a transparent manner about all the efforts they take into mainstream the fundamental themes that are currently in the preamble of the Paris Agreement. And those themes would be human rights, gender, indigenous rights, food security, just transition, public participation, intergenerational equity, and ecosystemic integrity, and the protection of biodiversity. All those principles are already there, but we need to know how parties are engaging with them in a transparent manner when they do their reports on what they do to implement the Paris Agreement.
If you leave one out, the rule book crumbles.
If you leave one out, the rule book crumbles.
We need parties not just to stay between themselves when they report on it, but also to engage with civil society, to make sure that civil society is there to ask questions, to be able to check what they're reporting on. We really need civil society to have an active role in the transparency framework that the parties are currently constructing together.
The facilitative sharing of views is a format for increasing the transparency of mitigation action by developing countries. During the event, Chile and Singapore presented their biannual update reports, which are inventories of emissions and mitigation actions.
So this is very much a learning opportunity for countries to figure out exactly how they can implement transparency on the ground. And these are, in a sense, an important way for countries to harvest lessons from what they're already doing so that they can feed this into the actual design for the transparency framework under the Paris Agreement. A key theme that really emerges is parties really like the facilitative nature, its non-punitive nature, that this is more of a dialogue, more of a discussion as to how these countries were able to implement whatever they were able to implement, and that this is more of an opportunity for them to take stock and reflect on what they've been able to do along with the international community.
On Saturday, it's all about taking stock of progress. So please join us as we continue to bring you daily video highlights from Bonn.